Okay, here we go, it's working. Why the hell? Maybe it's a router problem? Like, sorry, I tried to start my stream and it didn't work, it didn't have frames again, it didn't have a connection. Then I started my router again and it just works. Why? Hmm. Oh, maybe it's because of the quantity of surges that we're having. Maybe that kind of messes it up a bit. That could be a problem, for sure. There was like 2 surges just today, and it usually works fine with the normal internet, which is so annoying. Like my internet is fine overall without like if I didn't stream, it wouldn't even be a problem. Hmm, that's weird. Okay, well, yeah, we fixed that. Anyway, hello, welcome to my stream. I'm Nero. You, why am I saying this? I don't fucking care if you know me or not. Here's a VTuber advice. Nobody gonna watch you, so why the fuck I would keep doing this? Drop it. Drop it. Market is saturated already. Some of us need money to pay rent. I'm just joking. Do whatever you want. I don't know. I just saw a lot of those videos on my feed about, oh my god, how to make it as a VTuber. And literally all those people telling you to do is like the most cancerous activity you can ever be doing, like posting shorts and stuff. And I'm always like, oh shit. Well, I guess I'm staying here where I am forever. It's good enough for me. Fuck. Okay. Being unpopular, that's one issue. The second issue is that I don't want to fucking play mahoyo anymore. Like, we should finish it. I should not be so antagonistic about it. Like, we're almost done. It's almost the end. I would rather be playing, like, there is 2 games I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play Paranormal Side, new Paranormal Side game. And we're gonna do it right after mahoyo. I know 2 VNs in a row is so cringe, but yet again, not like I have a rent to pay, you know? Yeah. And the second game is new Resident Evil. I've been watching a bit of it. And I don't think I'm gonna watch it all, even though it's very nice. It's very entertaining to watch Resident Evil stuff. I really want to play all the Resident Evil games in a row. That would be fun, I think. Right? Like, emulate the earlier games and then play all the remakes and shit. That would be so stoked. It's so fun. Yeah, I'm excited, but unfortunately we have to do some stuff before we could do that. Like oh, like figure out the emulation setup and all that. Yeah, really. Okay. So after the stupid VNs, we're gonna play some real games. Okay, we're gonna play Dishonored. We're gonna play Dishonored 3 games or 2 or 3. It's 2 games and DLC that became a game. We're gonna play that and some other real games. Deathloop, Prey, yeah. How's the developer of those games called? Like Arcane or something? Oh shit, sorry, today I'm feeling kinda not great. So, but I wanted to commit and to play a bit of mahoyo and finish this and forget about it forever. Yeah. We're gonna play some of those games, and while I'm gonna do it, I have to figure out the setup. The setup. The chapter really is called The Elder Sister Return to Zero for the emulation of PS1, PS2 games. Here we are. Yeah. I'm not feeling like doing a recap. You can figure it out, right? It's all like nothing is going on. Well, something is going on. I cannot do this today. I'm sorry. Witch of a Holy Night, Part 1, the title drop. Akko had not hung up, but the line remained silent. Okay, we should do a recap. There is... Okay, put me in the character list. Ew, I'm feeling so sick. Oh. Who? Is this the wolf? Wolf is a child? Oh, this is a loud headphone. Hold on. Okay, here we are. Ew, the other headphone is so warm. Yuck. Who that? Who is that? Who is that? That's a real villain behind Toko. Anyway, we are Oko Ozaki, and we are a beginner witch who came to Misaki Town because we inherited it as a part of our magical witch inheritance, as well as some magic and some bullshit. We're witch in training, and now we are training in the Misaki Town with our tutor slash housemate Alice Konji. We live with her in her mansion, and we together share the duty of defending magical bullshit in the Misaki Town. Who gives a shit? Before we inherited this power, we thought we are gonna be like a normal girl, even though we are from a family of mages. We thought we were gonna be a normal girl because initially the role of the mage of Toko family was supposed to go to Ozaki family was supposed to go to Toko Ozaki, who was actually trained to be a mage from very early age, but their grandfather, both Oko and Toko's, decided that Toko is not eloquent to inherit it for some reason. We don't really know exactly why. So Oko inherited the magic bullshit, and 2 years ago she came to Misaki Town, and now 2 years in, she's going to a local school, she's studying, she was ready to become a mage, yada yada yada, but the Toko arrived. After 2 years of traveling the world, Toko was like, nah, I'm holding a great grudge against my younger sister, and I'm not gonna talk with her, even though she's clearly not happy to be inheriting all this power, and she's clearly not happy to be in this position as much as I am. We're kinda equal in this, and it's really pisses me off. Anyway, yeah, Toko came, and she hates us, even though it's not our fault at all. Yeah, and now she tries to take up all the magical sigils that are protecting the magical powers. I don't fucking know how this works. I don't give a shit. Anyway, Toko is our enemy. We are Aoko and Alice. Sujiro is also here. Nobody gives a shit. Alice got gratefully wounded last time, and Toko is also a cougar. That's important. Yeah, every other character, who gives a fuck? None of them do anything for the plot. This lady apparently has big magical power. I wonder how the church gonna came into the story. Whatever. I'll go ahead and head up, but the line remain silent. Okay, I'm gonna yell and then I'm gonna read. Alice set down the receiver, quickly put on her mantle, and made for the entrance, moving her injured body by sheer willpower alone. Oh yeah, the Toko injured Alice, and now we as Sujiro went for Alice, took the Alice and bring her to the mansion back, and now we received a phone call from Aoko that said that Aoko is being captured by Toko, whatever the fuck they're gonna do with her. And now Alice is going for Aoko, I guess. Along the way, she paused, turned to Sujiro, and looked directly at him. Aoko's in trouble, isn't she? Alice hesitated for a moment before pushing aside her anxiety and grabbing his hand. Shizuki, come with me. Wait, where are we going? To Aida Church. We need to ask Father Airy for help. Aida Church? That's next to the hospital, isn't it? Good, you know it. It'll save me time explaining. Alice left the mansion and made her way down the tree-lined path. She was clearly determined, but the look in her eyes betrayed her pain. Alice, wait, shouldn't we call ahead? Sujiro asked Alice, whose grip on his hand was light but unyielding. The church already knows, and if you're talking about the hospital, no need. It's quicker for us to go and help than call for a car. They can't fly. Alice had thought of everything. Is Alice gonna fly? She turned to the mansion and lightly snapped her fingers. In response, a window opened and countless starlings took flight. Group 1, search for the enemy. Group 2 and 3, proceed to the scene and administrate first aid. Hustle is paramount. If Oko is still alive, do not let your heart stop. Alice command the birds firmly. Shizuki, fetch Aoko's bicycle from the rear courtyard. Sujiro let slip his discomfort at the thought of that thing, the custom-made red bicycle. When he was cleaning the incinerator, Aoko had verbally assaulted him for nearly scratching it. Okay, but what's the plan? You're much safer at the church than here, and I need to hurry. Can you take us both, Shizuki? Well, Sujiro had seen people riding tandem, really, and was confident he could imitate them. He still wasn't quite certain he could trust a bicycle with his life. Moreover, its frame was so light, he was unsure if he could support both their weights. Wait, you mean you want to ride on a back? If it's too much, then I don't need your help. Alice turned away as if to snub him, then began walking. Unfortunately for Sujiro, he was now on her bedside. Hey, don't get me wrong, it's just I never expected you to ask me to do something like that. Okay, I'm really sick today, sorry. Ignoring his pleas, she continued briskly towards the wood. There was no way she was going to ride the bike now. Sensing his stubborn streak, he desperately called out to her. I take it back, I'm sorry, I'll go get it right now. You can take your anger out of me later. Alice stopped. As soon as he saw her stop, he hurried to the rear courtyard, grabbed the key from where it was heading, and used it to unlock the Aoko's bicycle. By the time Sujiro brought it back from the mansion, Alice was continuing towards the forest. I think I finally have you figured out, Alice. Muttering to himself, he straddled the bike. He rested his foot on a pedal. It felt light but sturdy. Confident the bike could support the weight of him and Alice, he began pedaling. Alice. Arisu, she turned as he called her out, before shooting him a piercing glare. Come on, hop on back. No cushion now, so it wouldn't be a comfy ride. Let me know if it's too uncomfortable. I'll be fine. Worry about yourself. He had hit the nail on the head. Alice definitely held a grudge over the smallest things. If that's the issue, then there is no issue. I'm happy to give you a ride. We're going to either church, right? Unabashed and undiluted, he plowed on. His tones seemed to ease Alice's mood. She nodded calmly and took a seat on a luggage rack above the rear tire. I'm going to hold on to you, okay? You don't mind me touching you, do you? Why wouldn't I? I'm tougher than I look. Alice suddenly wrapped her arms around Sujiro. When she had held on tightly enough, he gripped the handlebars. Good, he said quietly. What's good? Sujiro turned to her, an ambiguous expression on his face, and then began pedaling vigorously. He let go of the brakes, and the bicycle hurtled towards Shiro Inuzuka's steep incline. Surprised by the sudden speed, Alice gasped and clutched Sujiro tighter, not in a rocket. By the way, sorry. She almost protested, but stopped when she saw the serious expression in Sujiro's face. Instead, she decided to tighten her grip. Under the night sky, the young girl had put her faith in young boy. Wow. Writing. I love writing. I love when things are written. Faster than roller coaster, the bicycle hurtled towards Misaki Station. Around the station, there was no sight of cars or people. While the town slept under its snowy blanket, two people were racing like the wind. That's what happens when you don't live with your parents when you're 15 or whatever. While he pedaled, the boy said, Phew, riding tandems way easier than I thought. But he was alone in his relief. It was their first bicycle ride together, and they spent it speeding down an empty hallway. Romantic? The boys were too lost to howling wind, fortunately. Oh, it's snowy! Nice. In spite of the late hour, there were lights in the church. Originally, the only light at the time of the night come from the entrance to the sleepless hospital, ever vigilant and ready to receive patients. However, this was a quiet town with little nightlife. The hospital saw perhaps one emergency patient per night, however, and it was not equipped to handle tonight's sole patient. It was a little before 1 o'clock in the morning. Leaving the bicycle outside, the two headed into the church. With its snow-covered roof, the church looked like it was wearing a white hat that lit up the darkness. In the entrance stood a tall shadow. Oh, that's... why does he look like this? Miss Kuonji. The man's voice was placid. It's the guy from here. I see. Dressed in a long coat, he had been waiting for Alice. Why is it Father Eri? Izoko? Yuka is tending to her now. By the time I got to the scene, there were others already. I'd like to notify her family. Aoko wouldn't want that. Besides, I believe they are trapped in the castle. Doku seemed to have tied down her grandfather too. Oh, okay, so Toko went full on for the family, okay. The two exchanged pleasantries. Sojiro did not move from the foot of the stairs. Oh? And who's this? Though the father seemed calm, his voice had edge to them. As if to protect Sojiro from his gaze, Alice stepped between them. This is Aoko's familiar, though the contract hasn't been fulfilled yet. Familiar? Sojiro was about to complain, but Alice shot him a fiery glare. That all but said, just shut up and play alone. I hate when you start lying to people publicly and the person that's with you is not like nodding and and quietly accepting whatever the fuck you're saying. Like, man, I know how to orchestrate the situation better. Can you shut up and just listen? They always doing this. I see, this is the first I've heard of it, but I'll let it slide. You look so dumb. I mean, you are both in conflict with an outside mage, after all. That should take priority. Alice nodded in thanks. I'll be going in now. Let him enter too. He's most welcome. I will begin preparation for medication. If a change of administrators is imminent, I have to prepare documents for both parties. I'm leaving things to Ritsuka in my absence, so send any questions her way. As if passing the baton, Father Eri exited the church. Sojiro took 2 full steps back to give him a wide berth. Can you chill? The priest had a dignified air about him. To put it bluntly, he was strikingly beautiful, okay. Straight nose, glistening lips, not a single imperfection on his mildly effeminate face. But that only weighed as far as his appearance. His manner lacked any hint of softness or grace. Just by looking at him, you could tell he was dependable, like tempered steel, despite being somewhat unapproachable. The priest disappeared silently into the night, the darkness of his coat overpowering the moonlight. In awe, Sojiro watched him leave. Whoa, okay. He's like some kind of sage from the folk tales. In his own way, Sojiro was expressing affection. For some reason, Father Eri's distant tone made him feel nostalgic. Alice gave Sojiro a deathly stare. Don't let your guard down. He's with the church. His job is to monitor us, but this time we have to ask for his help. If it were allowed, I'd make him disappear off the face of the earth. Okay. With curse riding in the air, Alice placed her hand on the door of the chapel. They were twice her height, and who knows how heavy. It did not look like she could open them anytime soon. Sojiro climbed the stairs 3 at a time, and helped Alice push the towering doors inwards. Ooh. The dim light of a chapel brought with it familiar scent of burning oil. The ecclesiastical? Ecclesiastical? Eclectic? Ecclesial? Ecclesiastical? Relating to the Christian church or its clergy.
Ecclesiastical.
Ecclesiastical. Thank you. The ecclesiastical interior was breathtaking. You're breathtaking. The tallest ceiling, the stained glass windows on every wall. It all felt intended to illustrate the presence of the Holy Spirit within those chambers. Like the foyer of a gorgeous estate, there was not a single heater. The bitter cold made the chapel feel more severe. Ali, over here. Achan. The gentle voice echoed through the chapel. Incognita stood surroundings. I like this. I see. It was the voice of a woman. The son? Ritsuka? Is this you? No, it's whatever her name is. Whatever the lady who's completely irrelevant. Alice made her way past the rows of bows towards the front altar. The Jew closed the arched doors and hurried after her. You got here fast. I was just thinking of coming to see you. I had another pair of legs. Legs? Oh, you mean him? She said, oh, it's you, actually. Sujiro showed himself surprising the woman. They stared intently at each other, wondering what the other was doing here. You two know each other? Yeah, although I didn't expect to see him here. Sujiro, when you said you moved, you meant you were staying at Alice? Sujiro nodded. Alice turned visibly sore at this unexpected development. What are you talking about, Ritsuka? How do you know each other? Well, he always gave me a discount at the fish market, helped me with my bags, drank tea with me. You're like every housewife's best friend. That does make sense. You're not married, Ritsuka. Needless, that doesn't make sense. You're not married, Ritsuka. Whoa, fucked up. Needless to say, Sujiro was also not a housewife's best friend, and all that suggested. But there is more urgent matters at hand. Oh, you had to go there, huh? I can't sleep anything by you, can I, Ali? Well, what do you expect? I never know when you're being serious, so I have to question every weird thing you say. Just look at us. We must have been separated at birth. Okay, I'll tell you the truth. I know him from the neighborhood association. He's not a spy or anything. Not that he could be. I mean, you know, just look at him. Is this true? Alice stared straight at Sujiro to let him know she was mad with him for hiding it from her. Yeah? I know her from a part-time job at the fish market. She was nice to me, so I gave her a pre-sardine to persuade her to come back. Exactly. Everybody who shops downtown knows Sujiro. If it bothers you so much, Ali, go see for yourself. He's a secret stud for the shopping district. What the fuck? Betting in Sujiro? Alice, if you don't like it, you may just not let Sujiro pay any rent, and he don't have to work, and unknown woman would not have to know him. She means a popular, not that my prices are easy to hammer down like some nail on the wall. His apparent popularity would have to be questioned another time. Collecting herself, Alice focused on the door in the recess of the church. Do not give a shit about Aoko. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with you, Ritsuka, but he's with Aoko now. An explanation will have to wait. It all excites now. So much to say, so little time, but we can get to this later. Wait, for you, I'll make an exception and offer him our protection. Alice nodded and began walking to the door. Excuse me, shouldn't church, like, protect everybody and anybody? Alice! Stay, Sujiro. Sujiro was about to follow Alice. Ritsuka stopped in his way. You need to stay here. Leave this to the girls. She asserted bluntly. Meanwhile, Alice had reached the door and entered further into the chapel. But why? It's for your own good. No normal person should see Aoko in the state she is in. It'll be too much for you. Unless, of course, you're so worried about her, you don't care about that? Sujiro was not able to give an immediate answer. It had finally hit him just how bad the state of Aoko must have been. Based on Alice's condition when he found her, he intuited that Aoko's injuries might be even worse. He tried to imagine her expression in the state, but could not. I never worry about Aozaki. Literally, he had never been worried about her before, and truly. I can't stop you, can I? No. He answered her reflectively. Reflexively? Aoko sighed at the boy's naivety, but nonetheless stepped aside. Go on then, though through the door Alice used, fourth room in. Things are critical right now, so stay out of Yui's way. Yujiro thanked her and went after Alice, leaving Ritsuko Susa, the self-proclaimed everybody's friendly neighbor, alone. You could probably stop him, but someone got to be in Sujiro's corner. I have a soft spot for broken boys. Can you chill? I know I'm playing rough with him, but it's for his own good. I let him learn to regret. She spoke with force, but her words echoed aimlessly around the chapel. With a sigh, she shrugged her shoulders and made the sign of the cross in rather imperious manner. The sound of Sujiro's footstep grew fainter. His lack of hesitation had left a pain in her heart, and not because he did not look back at her, but because he was choosing to ignore the primal fear inside him. An elderly man once said, "An animal's death and humans are two different things. You may think they are the same, but they are different to their core. Our heads have known the difference since the dawn of man. An animal's corpse, be it a pig's or a deer's, is different. If the swing of an axe or machine is violent, there so must the human corpse be. Therefore, before you see with your own eyes, you should at least understand it with your ears. Listen closely, Sujiro. When a person dies, ooh, it's Sujiro! Somebody says it's to Sujiro, this is nice. When a person dies, blood flows like a crimson river. It's too much to bear. I thought it's gonna be Aoko's POV. Perhaps because he was not used to the stone path beneath his feet, Sujiro's mind wandered back to the world he'd heard as a child. The instant he opened the door, there was a palpable change in the air. The room was small, with only a simple bed and a small wooden dresser. And there on the bed, Redacted, was lying on his side. Standing to her was a woman he'd just seen in the chapel, Ritsuko. No, she's only looked a lot like her. Her eyes was closed and her garments covered in blood. He had met her maybe once before, Yugasuse, and nun at the church. He was doing something to Aoko. Yuka held a pair of scissors and some thread. Her hands moved delicately yet quickly, as though playing an organ. Her movements were precise, as if flawlessly regarding sheet music. Reading. One by one, the supply of bandages diminished. Bandages recently applied to the wounds were quickly replaced with fresh ones. Gaze was placed everywhere to try and cope with the amount of blood. Once white cloth was now dyed red and discarded, the dressing scarred around the floor resembling roses. In a wilted rose garden, the nun played her organ. This scene looked like any reality Sujiro knew. Unlike any reality Sujiro knew, it was clear why the air had changed. There was a savage odor in the room. Even though he was expecting it for the first time, he knew what it was. The smell burned his lungs. He could not bring himself to look at the bed. Fighting his feelings, his eyes refused to move there. He noticed Alice next to bed. Her expression, she looked like a statue next to a grave, except she was trembling ever so slightly. It could have been from fear, anxiety, rage, or combination of the three. Hold on. Sorry. It could have been from fear, anxiety, rage, or combination of the three. Before her lay a life on the verge of death. But whose life? It was difficult to tell with only a glance. Some sort of puppet covered in bandages, perhaps. Her hair should be beautiful, but it felt that, disheveled, despite her short breath, her chest convulsed, up, down. Facetious though the thought was, Sujiro recalled the rodeo machine on the roof of a department store. The painkillers and anesthesia could not have been working. New bandages were soaked crimson in a second. Her fingernails bit into the sheets. Her face twisted in agony. Anesthesia would not be enough, so if she was still alive, she must be conscious too. It worried him that no one seemed concerned about this. In this state, she would surely lose her mind before her life. In short, the boy never wanted to see anything like this ever again. Bed sheets should be white, not red. With every blink, the color deepened. Sujiro was finally forced to accept that the bleeding mess in the center of it was her. He felt the blood surge in his veins. The squeaking of the bed, the snip of the scissors, the gasps of agony, it all faded. All he could hear was his own pounding heartbeat. The smell of the blood she choked up sent a wave of nausea through him. His knees abandoned him. It was pretty understandable. His brain had to shut his consciousness off to protect itself. His mind could only take so much reality. He would give anything to never see something like this again. Pussy, sorry. Silly me. You know everything, don't you, Oko? Not just about you, but what happens after this too. What surveys, what want, you can see it all. And though it all, you never lose sight of who you are. You're so strong. And on she went. I kinda like his smile, but she just had to go and say the one thing I wish she hadn't. The last day of middle school seemed so long ago. Yet the ephemeral cherry blossom petal danced around, my little dream was crushed. I never really considered myself strong, at last until I began remembering those words from time to time. I thought you of all people would understand, Ozaki. I mean, of course you do. That's what makes you strong. And lately, an idiot who said things like that, awkward horizontal, sorry. An idiot who said things like that had appeared in my life. I knew I always judge people more harshly than those around me, but to have someone I'd only known for a few days point that out was like a stab in the chest. Not only that, the words sounded so similar that made me so angry I couldn't see straight. Only him and one other person have ever said anything like that to me. Then again, I suppose my sister said the same without actually saying it. You're different from us. But me being me, I took it as a curse rather than a compliment. My actions, my choices, my morals, all the good and bad I've done. When all said and done, I'm really any better than anyone else? Of course I am. I'll never sacrifice myself for those around me. They just had to call me strong, true to myself, in spite of how alone, stubborn and ridiculous I know I can be. When I was younger, it only confused me. I mean, I don't know any other way. I am who I am. The frustrating fact is, I simply don't have the courage to give up. So why? Why do I get treated special for doing what comes naturally? No, I'm so special. The sunlight stirred her. Maybe it was the pain from having her whole body held together by arcane threads, but Oko felt like she had a silly dream. She gulped air through her painful, parched throat. Gray rays of light shone through the small window, bringing her back to reality. I feel itchy. Unable to bear it, Oko attempted to roll over. Except she could only move her right arm. She tried lifting her arm, but couldn't feel anything past her elbow. When she stopped concentrating on her bandaged arm, it felt a bit like a stone. Okay. Oko took her surroundings, moving only her eyes. Evidently, she had been asleep in this bed, unable to feel certain parts of her body. She felt like a robot. The room was tiny and undecorated. It was like an apartment without a tenant. Judging by the good repair, she guessed she was in the Ida church. Outside, it seemed closer to noon than morning. Clouds filled the sky as usual, dulling the sun's rays. Idly, she thought that it could be enough to melt the snow outside. And then finally, she noticed the figure of a girl next to her bed. Alice Koanji was sitting in a chair, unmoving. Good morning, Alice. Whoa, this is like perfect reading for me right now. She called out for her, all too casually. It was more difficult to talk than she thought. Alice was her typical stoic self, although I did notice a glimpse of concern in her eyes. You haven't slept, Alice. I can tell from your poor complexion. I tried, but I can't see the substance Toko made me swallow leave the system. I suppose my lukewarm discomfort is a part in a windstorm compared to what you're going through. Alice's uncharacteristically vulgar comment helped Oko feel a little more like her usual self. She felt reassured having a comrade in arms by her side instead of a concerned neighbor. So, she got you too. I can guess how it went, but fill me in on the details. Oko remained horizontal as she spoke with a cool tone. Oh, don't let me open the window or else I'm gonna die. Oh. Man, I'm so cranky. Like, I'm so... Oh, shit. Despite Oko's condition, Alice granted her request. After all, they had known each other for 2 years. Alice knew exactly what the kind of anesthesia Oko Ozaki needed right now. Alice Kuronji's battle with Toko Ozaki ended in a farmer's victory. The tame stroll was a special familiar even among fairy tales monsters. While lacking the incredible reality-wrapping abilities of a flat snark, its sheer mass, durability, and strength were second to none. Ago's rune magecraft was rendered completely... I read it! You piece of shit! I read it before! I was here! As a general law of magecraft, a mystic will lose to a stronger, older mystic. The history of a bridge giant dated back well over 1,000 years. Its original could be traced to the 1st century, when Britannia was conquered by the Romans. Conversely, despite having roots dating back to the Age of Gods, runes had unfortunately been lost to time. Rune magecraft was little more than an attempt to relive and use a dead art. However, monsters from fairy tales like the troll were different. They lived on in the hands of Alice Koanji. The magical world was vast, but one could probably count in a hand the number of magecrafts still function after being enchanted into existence a millennia ago, like Alice's ploys did. In contrast, Toko was the rune user, was only about 2 decades old. Carving a rune took only a moment. There was no way quick spell could defeat the personification of London Bridge in Alice's homeland. That being said, the beast had appeared, Beowulf, the golden beast. It seemed absurd to compare a small and relatively powerless wolf to a towering stone giant. The tame stroll attack. Yeah, I know. The wolf's fur bristled, and the creature metamorphosized like liquid. It was a breathtaking display. The wolf hovered at the moon as if in joy and streaked forth like a bolt of golden light. In an instant, the duel was decided. Great and powerful Exodia. The radiant spear of a wolf flew straight through the giant's chest and sunk its teeth into its heart. The troll exploded. Chunks of stony muscle rained down. And when his fur scattered in the wind, two mystics dispersed without a trace and returned from the whence they came. The curtain fell on a battle straight out of the mythology. There, among the rubble of the fairy tale monsters, was the golden wolf standing like a flame. Minako did it better. and was more meaning put into it. What came after could barely be described as a battle. It was more like a slaughter of defenseless pawns. The wolf leapt on Alice. Yeah, I know. I was here. We didn't have to do it 2 times. The golden wolf. The wolf which understood human speech could only be a magical creature known as werewolf. Werewolves were forest people of Western Europe, with origins far more ancient than the fabricated vampire legends of the continent. Okay. However, none were known to have golden coats. It is said that the most elite werewolves' bloodlines boasted silver foal. Oh my fucking god, shut up! Several werewolves were pack leaders, and werewolves of the caliber were considered phantasmical rather than merely magical creatures. But a golden... oh my fucking god, this is so useless. But a golden werewolf was superior even to that, and so transcended human knowledge. Alice Conch's ploys were among the ultimate mystics to have been created by humankind. Therefore, the golden wolf could only be the mystic born of the planet, when the celestial body had been acting for millions, even billions of years. Occasionally, a miraculous doppred of creation spills over into our current world. The mystic had to be 3,000 years old. Yep, and it looks like a child. Typical anime. A human mage. No, any mage living in the current magical paradigm would be helpless against the golden wolf. Not even a theory would stand a chance to defeating it. Which means that this werewolf was Oko and Alice's worst nightmare. Ooh. I see. If it was too much even for you, Alice, I never would have stood a chance. But it means no magical attack should work on it, right? Thames is powered by magical energy, but isn't it punch just raw force? One hit, the game is over. Do you think Nasu just likes writing woman being brutalized? Do you think there's something here, like... Now we have a super gory weird scene that have like basically no rights to be in the story to begin with. I mean, it could be like gorier, don't get me wrong. Ooh, it could have been more gory, more edgy, but you don't need this to prove a point, you know? You don't need anything. And then after all of that, she's just laying here and like, oh yeah, magical strategy, let's talk shop right now. Shut up. So annoying. Thames is powered by the magical energy. This isn't a punch, just raw force. One hit and the game's over. It's not that simple, unfortunately. I remember in Tsukihime, a lot of women being brutalized just for fun too. It's not that simple, unfortunately. His base form was a wolf, but he can transform to adapt to the situation. He took Thames' punch by turning into a giant ape-like thing. Even if he used machine gun or a rocket launcher, he could probably transform into something to defend himself. So he can't turn into any living creature. What about his mass? He can change that, can he? Why you have to be over 6 feet tall on top of all the other strengths? Random question, but what if he could turn into a sea creature? That'd be just awful. Oko narrowed her eyes as she bemoaned the creature's existence. The conversation appeared to have revived her fighting spirit. Once again, her eyes were focused and her thoughts clear. Oko was back to her usual self. So, what happened next? Were you able to escape? No. The wolf had its way with me next. Let's explain how the wolf had pinned her to the ground. Incidentally, she kept part about Sujuro rather short. Alice herself was not entirely sure why she felt it necessary to leave most of that information out. Sutago came straight to me after fighting you. That was your plan, sis? You wanted to end this all yesterday. It was my mistake for forgetting. We always did have a habit of having the same thought at the same time. Once you reveal your hand to the enemy, you have to take them out. She waited until she was down to the last... What an asshole. Jesus fucking Christ. I hate these people on their fucking stupid cars. All car people should die. She waited until, I'm just joking. She waited until she was down to the last two sigils to reveal herself and divide our strength. I knew she'd do something like this, but I never imagined she'd have a freaking werewolf with her. Alco let out a heavy sigh. Alice nodded slightly in agreement. Anyway, I can't believe Sejiro came to your rescue. I know I should be grateful, but he's such an idiot. If I was in Toko's shoes, I'd be tying up on any loose ends. After dealing with us, wiping him out should have been a piece of cake. Shizuki's under the church protection now. Her eyes widened. What? Am I hearing things? You actually went out of your way to protect him? I was thinking of you. We shouldn't want you getting angry now, would we? Alice responded with her eyes closed. Alco frowned in silent indignation, as if she wanted to protest where Alice got that idea from. Well, whatever. He's here now, I assume. But where? She unable to move her neck. She looked around the best she could. He collapsed, and so he's resting at Father Aries' bedroom. Alco furrowed her brows. It collapsed. Sure, he was under the church protection, but had Toko set the wheels in motion for his death? What exactly happened to him? Alice paused for a moment before carefully answering the question. Well, when he saw you, he vomited. She had decided to be blunt. Aiko was taken aback. For several seconds, dim sunlight leaked through the window. When she had found her voice again, she muttered, Whatever, that's kind of rude though. Perhaps amused or perhaps exhausted from staying up all night, Alice cracked a tiny giggle. Alice, what's so funny? Oh, nothing. Shizuki had his reasons, I'm sure. You were in a bad state, Aoko. Aoko appraised her physical state. She was dressed in a hospital gown, bandages covered the majority of her body, her right leg was a plaster cast. Since she could move her right arm, she brought her bandaged finger up to her throat. Oh yeah. I remember now. Shit bit my neck. It was crazy being torn to pieces like this. I even heard my neck snapping. Gross. Doesn't do the feeling justice. Damn it. He played with me like some kind of chew toy. I almost wish I could forget. Ako sounded upbeat, but the look in her eyes was anything but. She had been torn to pieces, but her life has been mercifully spared. At least she hadn't been dismembered. She had been beaten, and her bones broken. We know. The magic crest contained the Ozaki's secret art decorated her body. Even the spine was broken. As long as her body was alive, the crest would pierce it back together. Despite the crest's eating the pain a little, she's still hard enough to want to kill a wolf 100 times over. If all sigils have been broken, Misaki City's ley lines are wide open. We thought we had the age of having the big picture of the area, but if Toko known for a while, then she's a step ahead of us. Let's be real, how long do you think it'd take to transfer dominion rights? For Toko, it won't even take her 2 days. She has no choice but to faithful land itself to restore the sigils. By the time the defenses are in working order again, this town will be as good as hers. So come tomorrow morning and lose everything. What about you, Alice? Any fight left in you? I can manage a little bit of mental magecraft. After that, I'll be relying on trinkets. That one got it. Ako went silent again, staring straight at the ceiling. Alice knew all too well what that look meant. Are you planning on fighting? Aren't you, Aoko? Can you blame me? It's not like I can give up. What about you? When something's mine, it stays mine. Yoko muttered in agreement to Alice's tense response. Alice's intense attachment to her possession was enough to make even Yoko shiver. When something is mine, it stays mine. To take it a step further, betrayal was an unforgivable sin. This personal motto was further proof of her uncompromising nature. Okay, that settles it then. I'm going to get some rest. Come hell or high water. Come hell or high water, I'll be ready by tonight. If the nun who stitched her back together had heard this, she would have fainted. I could barely even eat in this current condition. Even so, Alice nodded and stood up. As Oko's partner, she knew that once her mind was made up, she had to trust her. Silently, the girl in black began to take her leave. Oh, she stopped in front of the door, her hand to her mouth. Alice? Oko was curious, suspecting that Alice had something silly to say again. Quite the contrary. Instead of blushing, Alice furrowed her brow, like she was thinking over a difficult riddle. Alice? Hello? Oko called out, but Alice remained with her back to her roommate. How did he make it to me in time? She spoke as if the words were accidentally burst out from her thoughts. Alice's question was about something Yoko could not possibly have guessed. It happened before too. Even though we took the first train back. She carried on, mumbling at the door. Unable to find an answer, Alice gloomily put her hand on the doorknob. Is Sujiro secretly a werewolf too? Ooh. Dogfight, dogfight. If you don't fight to say, it's fine. But if you do, then spit it out already. Alice did not respond. She opened the door to leave the room and left a few words hanging in the air. It might be nothing. By the way, Yuyuko said she couldn't see Shizuki. The door closed with a thud. Oh, that doesn't happen every day. Oh my god, the dog color was like what is it called? Foreshadowing? Is Shizuki really like a werewolf too or something? Wow. Well, we did guess that he had some magical power because of the bullshit, but Itchy nose, sorry. Yoko mumbled to herself from the bed, seeming slightly happier. Blind since birth, Yuka Susa saw the world through her other senses. She was especially sensitive to enemies, or those who bore ill will, and typically viewed almost everyone as a threat, presumably because that was the easiest way to pick up on. So when she said she couldn't see Sujiro, that meant he was completely harmless. Or he's a werewolf. That's my theory. And then that harmless individual decided to pay the small sick room a visit. Sujiro looked like a sniff breeze could knock him over. It made Aoko wonder who the real patient was. What do you want? Though Aoko could barely move, she was still able to give him the cold shoulder. Her expression gone, Aoko grunted something or other before beginning to speak more coherently. Alice was sleeping in a guest room, and I was in a chapel. People started coming in, so I came here. Oh, must be time to worship. It is Christmas. It was indeed Christmas. The regular mass was on Christmas Eve. The monks gathered in the chapel must have been truly devout followers. Tourists were rare in Misaki after all, so much so that almost no one visited the area this time of year. The worshippers might have been locals. So, why do I care? There might be someone there, you know? Someone there, you know. Okay, Aoko was distant as ever. She clearly had not forgotten the fact that he had vomited when she saw her, and a hint of spite leaked into her voice. Then again, it's not that. I just thought it might be a good chance to ask you some things. Can we talk for a bit? Since Aoko was always in a bad mood, Sujiro did not pick up on anything out of the ordinary. She wanted to tell him to go drink some water because he looked ready to collapse, but he didn't seem aware of his own condition. And to be fair for him, Alice did say Aoko was in a bad shape, given how unaccustomed to blood Sujiro was. It was no wonder he had fainted. Oh, of course. You're probably still too injured to talk. Sorry, I'll come back later. Sejiro seemed to have misunderstood Aoko being deep in thought as not having enough stamina to speak. Naturally, this did not sit well with Aoko. Hold it right here. If you came here to talk, I can talk just fine. I've been cooped up in here, so I could use the distraction. Okay, so you're not the best distraction. The beggars can be choosers. Sejiro sensed this was going to be rough, but took a seat on a chair next to the bed. So, what do you want to ask me? Aoko spoke energetically. Aoko spoke energetically in an attempt to distract from her weakened appearance. Naturally, she knew she was fooling no one. You're really strong, Narizaki. I'm relieved to see you're okay. Oh my god, I feel like shit. Sorry, Sejiro said nothing on information. Oh, ew, my body hurts. Aoko showed him an unimpressed look in response to the unwanted praise. Well, honestly, you have the worst timing. Nothing, forget it. Just something from a dream. It's nothing to do with you. She glowed, remembering. Come to think of it, almost everyone in her dream was here in the church, turning her dour expression into an irritated one. Enough about that. You said you had questions, so out with them. Alright, can you tell me what's going on? I mean, with Toko. Now that I'm involved at all. Sejiro spoke calmly, making Aoko wonder if he really understood the gravity of the situation. He was Toko's enemy now. He was defenseless and needed protection. Neither Aoko nor Alice could help him, and the church could withdraw their sanctuary at any moment. He had picked a side, and that had turned him from innocent bystander into a target. The answer, he thought, was simple as that. He knew the facts. He was not a mage, and was therefore powerless. Okay. I guess you did help Alice. Aoko did owe him with that. To say thanks, she decided to at least give him the whole story up till now. Okay, I'll quickly walk you through everything. You know, maybe even I'll get something out of it. Aoko composed herself before beginning her explanation. The battle began at the end of November. A lot had happened since then, including meeting Sejiro. It all started months ago, when the edge of a bounded field around Misaki Town was taken down. I know! I get it, I was there! I don't need this! The 5th time since I became successor, Misaki City was officially under attack. 5th time? 5th time? This time, instead of attacking us directly, the enemy started by taking the land. Everyone that had come before her had been— oh, 5th time, it's 5th attack, okay. Everyone that had come before her had been a bunch of amateurs, all full of themselves, attacking us head-on. They all ended up in the cable for Alice West's watchdog. Anyway, two types of abandoned fields around the area. One that attacks intruders, one siphons energy from the land. The enemy attacked the latter, and the entire field is destroyed, and Alice and I effectively lose our ownership of this land. Without land, we become no different than rouge mages. Rogue? Rouge? I think it's rogue. Of course, we had another field set up to detect intruders, but it didn't do what it was supposed to. And now we know why. The enemy was my sister, Toko Ozaki. Ozaki bounded field aren't going to recognize a fellow Ozaki as a threat. Alternatively, maybe Sejiro is secretly related to Oko. Sorry, alternatively. Or Alice? It was Alice's field that did not detect him. Alternatively, she may have just known about a blind spot and slipped in the way. As the original successor, it's only natural she had that knowledge to begin with. I don't want to do this anymore. Should I like push a bit for like another hour, or on the other hand, I kind of want to finish this chapter. Maybe I can. Okay, let's try to push and finish this fucking chapter and then end. So since she was invisible to us, she had free reign to break bounded field sigils. She deliberately attacked them slowly, one by one, to make us think it was an outsider. If she'd broken them all at once, I'd suspect it was one of my relatives, such as someone from the Asagi family. While we were stupidly fulfill her little game, it's also possible it took her a long time to destroy the field. Our fields are made of, like, this is... I don't know, it feels like when a game is good, the game feels like a really good distraction, but when a game is bad, it just reminds you... Excuse me? He's not here still? It just reminds you, oh! This is him! Who the fuck is that? I thought it was some lady in here, no offense. Who is that? Our fields are made of strong stuff. They typically last for 6 months. An enemy would need to figure out how many sigils support the field, what elements comprise them in the correct order to take them down, all while making sure the mage they belong to doesn't notice. If we did notice, we would locate the intruder space and eliminate them before any damage could be done. So bounded fields are either broken during a drawn-out battle or preemptively before it even starts. Usually an enemy tries to break the sigil to lure the landowner out. Then things are settled there, and then a duel between mages. Doing that eliminates the need to completely destroy a field. It's much faster to take out the landowner, and as long as they can decipher the formula, seize the field and land afterwards. If you don't destroy the fields, you don't have to remake them. Besides, ones that have been in the land for years are stronger. That was how Oko and Alice were duped. They never thought the enemy would waste their time and efforts needed to break all sigils. That's why Alice and I went on the defensive. We figured out we could surprise the enemy, really search for the sigils, take them out one by one. That's where things started to go south, when certain busygoings saw something you shouldn't have at the local park. Indeed. I know. You know the rest, right? I had no choice but to leave our battle with the enemy to Alice, and devote my time to searching for the eyewitness. I was here! I read all this! I don't need this recap! I'm so irritated by this. No sooner than Naoka said this, Sujiro gave her that exact look. Clearly he had been listening, but not necessarily understanding. What's not to understand, Sujiro? Whatever, it's water under the bridge. Actually, thanks to your cluelessness, our secret is still safe. Anyway, the fact I went looking for you worked in enemy's favor. Alice was the biggest threat. With us separated, she could take me out. That's when she sent you a special puppet. Or so I thought at the time. It turns out she sent it to mess with me. Otherwise, why use a puppet that looks just like me? Sujiro nodded, thinking back at the Oko replica. Remember, I'd prefer if you forgot about that incident altogether. After that, you could fill in the blanks. Alice and I turned our attention to fight the enemy, spending most nights tracking her ruthlessly until the fight last night. That's the long and short of it. She stared down at her body, as if recalling what had happened would help her accept her current state. Under the sheet, magical energy steadily flowed through her partially bandaged body. Okay, Aozaki, I think I'm all caught up. Yeah, I've been reading this. I've been caught up from the beginning. But what about you? Why are you in this state? Sujiro's specific concern was the reason Oko was lying there. More than anything, he wanted to know what had happened to her the night before. Simple. We lost. What more is there to say? Judging by her tone, she would have raised both hands sarcastically in celebration if she could. You lost? Yep. It sucks, but there is no getting around it. The moment all 5 sigils were broken, it was over. The land rights were up in the air until tomorrow, when Toget claims them. In trying to prevent that, Alice and I ended up like this. The tables have turned, so here on will be the challengers. We are the rogue mages. Rogue mages, meow. Which meant that Aoka, Alice, and Sujiro only had few more days with which to utilize the church's services. The church was not only an arm of a major situation, but also a branch of the Holy Church that monitored heresy. Aoka and Alice, the owners of Misaki City's spiritual land, but they belonged to neither of the organizations. The only reason the church helped them at all was because they were the land's administrators. Once those rights were lost, the church would have no reason to provide any further aid. Father Eri is helping us because he's natural in all this, but Yuika is a church executor. Once I'm healed, she'll kick me out. The church sees mages as their professional competition. And that stupid Ritsuka, well, she might help out if I cried. You understood a little of what Aoka was talking about. I didn't mean that, Aozaki. I meant what actually happened last night. Sujiro pressed her, and Aoka really wished he had not. You can't tell by looking? They wiped the floor with me. My throat was torn to pieces along with the rest of me. My right thigh was basically gone. If it wasn't for Alice's chocolate, I'd have bled to death. She knocked the cast around her leg. Echo spoke casually, but was trying to hide how much she wanted to revenge for being humiliated. In contrast, Sujiro felt empty. The little color he had in his face began to fade. Relatable? Was he repulsed by the terrible situation? Or were his instincts telling him to flee? Regardless, he appeared very human. What the hell's wrong with you? Oh wait, I know. You were stupid enough to look at me and throw up, am I right? Well, you can stop worrying, I'm in one piece now. One piece? Yuka's a pro, and I'm still alive. Regeneration is a specialty of the Ozeki mages, so I'll be fine. She gave him a reassuring look, but his expression was unchanged. Ago had expected him to worry, but this level of concern made it hard for even her to berate him. Feeling embarrassed, she started talking again. The question is, how on earth did my sister manage to tame a golden wolf? I didn't even think they existed. Ouch, sorry, hold on. He's a relic from the Age of Gods. He needed magecraft a millennium in just making to stand a chance against him, never mind trying to take him in a fistfight. As mages of the night before entered Aoko's mind, she bit her lip in anguish. A golden wolf? Conversely, the bizarre phrase snapped Sujiro out of his state of shock. Yeah, a golden wolf. A golden werewolf, to be exact. Then again, you probably never heard of a werewolf. Think part of human, part wolf, but only the best part. What? What does she mean by that? It's a magical beast as opposite to a wild one. There are ways to deal with regular werewolves, but the one with Toko had a golden coat. He is descended of the first werewolves, a transcended magical beast, phantasmical beast. To take on such a pure monster, you need a mystic with a longer history of some really secret magecraft. Nothing else will ever scratch him. Magecraft can do almost anything, but it just can't compete with something so ancient. He's the kind of natural disaster than any human mage dreads fighting. Your words indicate more admiration than hatred. The way she'd whispered about the wolf. Strangely, it made sense to Sujiro. What? What was this already? Oh. I was just thinking how there is something out there that even you and Alice can defeat. It must be truly awful. You tore apart Alice's stomach and you... Well, you didn't have anywhere that wasn't torn apart. How could the kid? What? How could a kid? Actually, I guess it's because he's a kid that he doesn't know how to hold back. Okay, the game dig its own grave with this line, because first of all, what the fuck is Sujiro talking about? But second of all, yeah, we know that he's a kid because he's drowned as a kid right here. Also, isn't Sujiro so a golden, a blonde kid? Or no, Sujiro, where is he? This guy. This guy saw a blonde kid, near this old school building? Is it the same kid? It's probably the same kid. Sujiro's face was a ghostly pair, as pale as he muttered nervously. Oko merely nodded in agreement. What? Now you get it. What kid has the nerve to do that to someone's... Wait, what did you just say? Oko raised her head. She looked as if she had seen a ghost. Did you just say kid? How the heck did you know that? I realized it was him that day. I've never seen someone with such golden hair in my life. It has to have been him. We were deep in the woods. It didn't look anything like the monster you described, though. No one wanted me to run after him. I told him, no way, of course. The kid freaked me out. I knew there was no catching him. Okay, we get to this conclusion because Sujiro is fucking dumb. And he thinks the people with golden hair are all the same. That's fun. That's really fun. His tone was as curious as the thing he was trying to articulate. This makes no fucking sense. Oh, so okay, whatever. It's fucking trash. It's garbage. It's a garbage rating. We came to this conclusion before. It's bad. It still may be resolved. Like the main conflict still can be resolved in like a normal way. I doubt that's what's gonna happen, but it still could be like if the story perceive the main conflict in like a sane light, in like, oh, common sense there. If a main story has some common sense, it still can, resolve it in a good way. So it may be not total waste of time, but this, oh, he just fucking thought of it. Oh, here we are. Fuck you. That's not how it works, but whatever. Alka, however, had more pressing matters. Much more pressing. You saw him? Where? At the old school campus. Come to think of it, I might have ever met him just once when I was working. I delivered 50 kilos of raw beef and... Oh my god, you absolute idiot. Strangely satisfying slapping sound rang out. Ignoring her words completely, Alko had grabbed a sleeper and thrown the Sujiro unassuming face as hard as she could. She panicked that Sujiro was knocked completely out of his chair. For a while, neither moved. What was that for, Aozaki? The boy asked, confused, as he slowly picked himself up. He sat cross-legged as Aoko scowled at him like an enemy. What do you think? Who keeps something like this to themselves? I didn't think it was worth mentioning. Even if I had, the two of you would have just gotten mad at me. Oh yeah, here we all go. We're establishing this weird character and we're using how weird and how silly he perceives the world very inconsistently. So at some point, he's like, oh yeah, this is normal and this is weird. But in the other one... Yeah, shut up. Oh, you never ask. You never ask about the kid who I delivered 50 kilos of beef to. Shut up. Oko knew he was right. He's not right. He's not right. He's not right. And so she's swallowed her words. Whoa, just brutalized. And then some fucking asshole idiot who... Okay, whatever. Cool. Thumbs up. She imagined themselves at dinner. You'll never guess what I did today. I delivered a mountain of beef to an animal. One animal. Rich people live in a different world, am I right? If he had actually said it, Aoko Analysis' response would have been less than cordial. And now we haven't seen, like, oh, this is not a stupid plot point, it actually makes sense, trust. Anyway, was there really a golden-haired child at the old school building? I don't know where he was young. Werewolf, and we had some strange orders from restaurants in town, especially the Imperial Metropolis near the station. That makes sense. There was no way he could eat out without drawing lots of attention to himself. She did not want to believe it, but the child had been the werewolf. Could Toku really have been so careless as if to hide him and play aside? It didn't matter at this point. With the werewolf's habitat revealed, Toku's base had been revealed too. To take over the bounded field, she needed an inconspicuous place to store materials. Misaki High School's old school building was a perfect place. Huh. You were hiding the key to the puzzle this whole time. Shut the fuck. I wasn't hiding anything. If you actually helped with cleaning the bookshelves, you would have found out for yourself. You shouldn't have left it to the Bimaru. In response to Sujiro, just was brutally... just was brutalized on screen, and... Okay, whatever. Well, she actually was brutalized off screen, but it doesn't help. In response to Sujiro, infallible logic, Aoko snapped her fingers. Good, thank God. Instead of another sleeper missile, she let the fateful white color express how she felt. And with the tightening of the collar, Sujiro realized something. Aoko had changed. From the bed, she looked down at him with a commanding glare. Though weak from her injuries, she was as sharp as ever. You would be forgiven for forgetting she was ever impatient. Patient. She was raring to fight. It went without saying who her rage was directed at. Aozaki? Hmm? Aka responded in a vulnerable tone. Perhaps she had been taken by surprise. Now she had an objective. She had been lost in her own little world. Thanks, Sujiro. He expected her to be sarcastic, but this was different. She was genuinely thanking him. He had never known her to be like this and was taken aback. I'm just showing my appreciation because you helped me figure out where Toko's hideout is. Satisfied? Sure. It's nice to be thanked, but are you seriously going after Toko in this condition? His tone was closer to scolding than sympathetic. Toko simply nodded resolutely. I'm just going to take back what's mine, while I still can. My sister won't waste a moment, and neither will I. She sounded unshakable. Even so, Sujiro would not back down. Even if you got almost no chance of winning, what you need right now is rest. Yesterday you were really messed up. You are still now. You're lucky to be alive. It's not luck, it's Toko. Gulp, I don't understand. Toko. She purposely kept me alive to taunt me. To make me try again. She's waiting for me so we can settle the score. If she wasn't waiting, she'd made her move already. As much as it pains me, I'm taking your words to heart. Irritation tainted Toko's words. From the side, she looked terrifyingly serious. She was ready to fight to the death. Toko had given her the choice. Sujiro could understand neither sister. Toko had left you alive so she could kill you later, and you're still going after her. Exactly. Like, you know, the story could have been so much better if they recognize, like, any of these main characters would recognize, like, one of them, at least one of them. I don't ask all of them. Like, let just Sujiro to be like, oh my god, whatever bullshit is going on with the mages, with, like, lack of sympathy and any disregard to, like, human lives, this is insane, and this is bullshit, and we should put the system on trial, and we should actually go do something with it. But no, we're not doing this. We're like, yeah, well, it's chill. The system's chill. Everybody's chill. What Toko does, it's bad, of course, but, like, she has her rights to do that, right? This is annoying, and it doesn't make any sense. Exactly, she might have won the battle, but she hasn't won the war. I've never been better chance fully healed, but while I'm recovering, Toko had gotten her claws into Misaki. This means I need to play my trump card. I have to do what I can while I can. The pain in her azure eyes was not as deep as the pain of death. It spoke to the regret she would feel if she did not do anything possible while blood still flowed through her veins. Understand now? Good. Then don't try and stop me. Listen to me, Sujiro. You're not responsible for anything. Not my life, and not this fight. And I refuse to sit in that waiting to die. Who'd do that if they felt they could win? Sujiro was dumbstruck. Aka could never let anyone else get involved. Whether it was because she cared or cared less, he could not tell. What he did understand, though, was if he wanted to stop her, he would have to do so with his bare hands, and he knew better than to try that. Even so, he had to ask one last question. If he did not, he would not be able to live with himself after leaving this room. I don't need why you need to go to this length. Is it out of obligation, or are you just forcing yourself? There was a sadness in his eyes. However, Aka was unmoved by then. It's not like you to ask something so deep. Alright, I'll answer, even though it won't change anything. To be honest, I'm caught between the two. Don't get me wrong though, any sense of obligation, compulsion, pride or fear comes from me and me alone. My grandfather wouldn't be mad if I stood fighting Toko. I doubt Alice would complain either. If I choose to run, nobody would give it a second thought. That's why, this is all on me. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I won't run away from Toko. All that matters is proving to myself that I'm alive. I know that my life has no meaning, and that's why I can't do anything. His fiery passion now Ozaki had set her peace. Sujiro was left with a pain in his chest. He did not know why, but her words angered him. Then again, at the same time, his self-confidence had him in wonder, even though she had said it with her life, even though She said that her life had no meaning, her stubbornness gave meaning to everything. So, would it still apply if... Without thinking, he started to ask another question. Maybe he wanted to change her mind, maybe he just wanted to hear her answer. If, say, no one was watching? It came out as a murmur. Indeed, if no one was watching, no one could know what she had fled. This was the situation Naoko was in. Even so, she shut him down instantly. Someone's always watching you, even if it's only yourself. What the fuck was Sujuro? What's Sujuro's backstory? Her expression brightened, possibly because she had been surprised at having to state the obvious. Sujuro had wide-eyed in shock, but Aoko remained nonchalant. Haven't you figured it out yet, Sujuro? Nobody watches you more than you. That's why you have to stay on your toes. Well, in Aoko's case, she literally had like another entity who is also her watching her, right? This is what I'm getting from all the Aoko fighting scenes. There's like another Aoko that wants this Aoko to lose control or whatever the fuck. Oh my god, so wise. Sujiro did not respond to her somewhat exasperated tone, but simply rose to his feet. He looked defeated, which was not like him at all. Sujiro? I'm sorry, I know you're saying something really incredible, is it? It just... I don't understand it. He quickly walked towards the door. As he placed his hand on the doorknob, he paused. For a few seconds, he fought with himself, desperately trying to think of something to say. No words came forth, and so he opened the door, which swung with a strange creak, and he left the room. After watching him go, Oka turned her gaze towards the window. It was nearly evening. A thin veil of darkness was threatening to descend on the town outside. Now what? By evening, only Sujiro remained in the chapel. He sat alone at the end of a pew, slouching helplessly like a guilty believer ready to confess. The chilly air sipped through the walls, turning breath to mist. The frigid air stole the heat from the body without mercy. Sujiro looked around the chapel's tile, ceiling, and spacious hall. The room made the air feel colder somehow. Unsure of what to do with himself, he stared into space. His thoughts were entirely unfocused. First and foremost, he could not understand what the buzzing sensation was in his chest. Time passed by. No answers came. To onlookers, he must have seemed deep in thought. Or in a deep sleep, like he would turn to stone if left be. Either way, he clearly looked down. The problem was in a lack of awareness. Not that he was aware of it, of course. Worshipping at this hour? You're quite the devotee. Devotee. Sujiro raised his head and turned to where the voice had come from. Stood before the altar was the man from last night, dressed in piercing garbs. How long had he been standing here? Sound reverberated dryly through the chapel hall. Sujiro did not have the strength to stand, yet alone leave. He just stared at the approaching shadow. Though you'll not find the Holy Spirit in the church. Do you mind if I sit? The priest pointed at Sujiro's pew. Without waiting an answer, he took a seat at the opposite end. I never formally introduced myself. My name is Eiri Fumitsuka. Fumitsuka, the church's owner, you could say, on paper at least. Call me Father Eiri. You must be Shizuki Sojiro, yes? I can see why Yuka didn't notice you. Father Eiri spoke in a gentle but uninvested tone. He was a thorough egoist. Sojiro knew all too well about people who spoke this way. Did he? The individuals who cared for him when he first came down from the mountains was one of them. Sojiro glanced across at him apathetically, but the Aerie seemed unfazed by the lack of direction to the conversation. I was wondering if I could speak to you for a moment. Sojiro responded with a nod, but the Aerie replied with an artificial smile. You seem terribly worried about Aoko. Not really. Ritsuko said the same thing to me, but that's not it. Sujiro doesn't give a fuck. Sujiro stares straight ahead as he answered, his voice sounding uncharacteristically weak and unsure. She's been in my mind a lot, and I don't know why. I'm trying to figure that out. The answer is simple. You envy her. With those few words, Sujiro snapped out of his funk. He clasped his hands and turned towards the priest. I see. So I envy her. Wait a second, that can be good. I didn't know I could feel this way. Father Harry did not respond to his convention-like rumbling. So, what did you want to talk to me about? Well, it's more of a question I'd like to ask, really. I heard you lived deep in the mountains until recently. Something strikes me as curious. Really? What? Well, I doubt anyone had asked you this before. No doubt, because you don't unnerve the people around you, I admit. I feel the same way talking to you. Maybe it's opportunity presenting itself, or my sense of obligation as a man of a church, but when I see a lost lamb, I feel a need to guide it. Father Avery looked at Sujiro placidly. His pupils were black holes that would struck the soul of your body. I'm not sure what you're talking about. What's your question exactly? Don't worry, it's nothing unusual. Simply, why did you come down here? Finally, a character who asks right questions. You seem like you'd be happier back home. Sujiro was not sure what he had done, but it sounded as though the priest was accusing him of something. And again, it was a reasonable question, if a little pointless. Sujiro had no answer. Father Air ignored the sullen Polly continued. I'm somewhat aware of the challenges a life in the mountain in my brain. I experienced it firsthand when I made a small mistake in my youth. Life in the mountains is incredibly simple. Your time is dedicated to survival. You don't live for joy, but rather to stay alive. It makes a minimalist lifestyle full of excess. It makes a minimalist lifestyle seem full of excess. Compared to that, city life should be nothing so short of paradise. However, paradise means something different to anyone. Everyone. Sujiro still did not answer. His expression remained blank. The only sound was the priest's voice echoing around the chapel. A life where a single seed could bring joy. No matter the warmth the light of electricity brings, I expect you respect the bitter cold of nature more. So tell me, why come here when you'd be happier in the mountains? Father Airy repeated his question. Sujiro's mouth remained firmly shut. Not because he did not want to answer, but because it simply did not know how to. All he knew was even if he wanted to go back, he could not. My son, salvation will not be forthcoming to those who choose to ignore its calling. If you don't know why you left, you won't be able to love where you arrived. A word of advice: happiness doesn't come from the unquestionable acceptance of everything. Be fairer to yourself. Jiro could not make sense of what he had been told. Only the father's last words made any impression on him. Being fairer to yourself, it's easier said than done, of course. And what had entailed Sujiro was uncertain of. Actually, that makes sense. Taku had mentioned something similar before, and it had impressed him. First her, now the priest. How could people know things he hadn't even told them? Whoa, are all priests like you? Sujiro said, curious to where the weight of his shoulders had gone to. In a way, one of his strong points is the fact that his emotional scars do not show on the surface. Indeed, a priest is obligated to shine a light on troubled hearts, though of course, that's not always enough. By shine a light, you mean talk things over? Yes, to a certain extent at least. The only problems I can solve are mostly small. The priest shrugged, looking a little disconcerted. Granted, Sujiro still did not trust Father Airy at all, but at the moment everyone was a ray of light in his eyes. Do you mind helping me with another small problem? Want to know why you're envious of Aoko, correct? It was as though the priest could see into boy's soul with the searing eyes. Well, yeah. I don't even know why I feel this way myself. But you seem to. I don't. I can simply guess. Not being the one to shoulder the burden. Your envy may come from a lack of foundation, or more accurately, your lack of a color of your own. You're squinted, trying to understand the priest's complicated yet concise answer. This is what I'm talking about. You're extraordinarily flexible. You learn to live alone in the city, coming down from the mountains. And then, once you've gotten used to that, you start living with Aoko and Alice in a very different world. I don't know if you consciously try to adapt, but regardless, your ability to do so is astonishing. Also, I don't know why, but you do not appear to exhibit signs of a regular ego. You can respond to anything, but aren't influenced by it. To be frank, you're a blank canvas that stays blank. While blending in your surroundings is a wonderful thing, no sense of self means having no place to call home. Your talent is a double-edged sword. The fact Yuka didn't see you was unexpected. She can perceive even incorporeal elemental spirits, and yet not you, that says a lot about your lack of greed. Hold on. As if amused by something, Father Eri grunts. However, Sujiro understood neither the meaning of the smile nor his words. This is mere speculation, but I believe Aoko feels resentment when she looks at you. To a brazen soul like her, your lack of self is something she simply cannot accept. And yet you see something in Aoko you could never attain. Feels crude to put such things into words, but it is what it is. A moment ago, I said you envied Aoko, but it's not quite true. In fact, you... No, never mind. Some things are better left unsaid. Father Airy smiled gently. It was a fresh-faced grin that belied his age. Whenever it came to Aoko, he seemed to forget his role as a priest. But that was irrelevant to Sujiro. So, Father, what exactly do I admire about Aoko then? Sujiro responded to Father Airy's rumbling by being direct. Some would say the priest had been direct himself, but it was Sujiro. And he needed things spelled out. You still don't get it? Then you have been beat, Sujiro. Some things really are difficult to put into words. Then again, I am simply a man of the cloth. How about a change of track? Do you know about Aoko's past? Not much. She told me some weird stuff I didn't understand about your start to high school and things. So by not much, you mean nothing. Very well, Shuki. Allow me to try something more abstract. If you were suddenly told to kill yourself, could you? Kill myself? Yeah, kill yourself. Of course, a priest shouldn't talk about such things, but my apprentice is only skin deep. Anyway, Aoko was asked to do something along those lines when she was 15. Throw away her hopes and dreams, her past and future, everything she was up to at this point, become a different being entirely. Written by a 15-year-old, okay? Well, turn yourself in the end of your future, wouldn't you agree? I love how nobody, questions the systems it handed here, whatever. His words fit what Aoko had said about her past. Until middle school, she led a normal life. Then out of the blue, she became the family heiress in place of her sister. Becoming a magician meant casting aside the life she had known. She had to leave behind her ambitions and prospects and live the life of a mage, something she barely knew anything about. Gulp gulp. Nice tea. Her life up to this point had taught her that everything from then on would bring her misery. Aoko's grandfather was not the forceful type. Your sister had failed, now it's your turn, he had said. Did Aoko resist? Sujiro could not begin to imagine. All he knew that she could not be happy with the hand she was dealt. Even if the life of a magician was attractive, to believe the possibility that Aoko could give up her lifestyle up to the point was to not know her at all. Aoko Ozaki put all into everything. She had probably achieved a lot in those 15 years, did she? She's 15 years old, can we chill? Her achievements and prospects were no doubt enough to make anyone jealous, but she did have the conviction to doze away and go back to square one. The square one did not come close to the reality of it. The future she had envisioned for so long would have been obliterated. So what did Aoko do? Well, we're talking about one exceptionally stubborn girl. Had I not witnessed it myself, I would have believed it, but she nodded. She stood there defiantly, curling her shaking fingers into a balled fist. Not to appear appease to her grandfather, not out of obligation to the Awazaki family, because she hated to run away from anything. That seemed like a... whatever. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a shit? Clearly, the person who wrote this lives in a very different reality from normal people. To her, running away would be rejecting the life she'd forged. If that was long ago, she would say farewell to her own terms. So that's what she did. Extreme, but she was the kind of person who would sacrifice everything in the name of progress. That's not what it is, but whatever. Its affectionate smile crossed Father Aries' face. Rather than signaling his closeness to Aoko, it conveyed his pride of a guardian. However, I was also mistaken. As it turns out, Aoko had been raised to become a mage all alone. Her grandfather predicted Toko would leave and that Aoko would become her heiress, so he raised them both accordingly. As a priest, if only by name I feel uncomfortable about that, I knew she had no interest in her new role. Is this okay? Like, are we... whatever, things could hardly do exactly how her grandfather had planned, so I asked her to flee with me to Mexico. Why is everybody cougar in here? Alas, she turned me down without a moment's thought. Still remember every word of her answer. Well, me crying isn't going to change anything, is it? If I'm the one who can do it, I'll do it. Then, if I get thrown to the wolves, I'll just have to find a way to survive. Running away is only last resort. Until then, hear me roar. I experienced physical pain reading this. The priest received her words as if recalling lines from her favorite play. It certainly seemed like something she would say. The last thing Aoko said in the room she was recovering in probably meant the same. Of course, when an audience is watching, you want their approval. However, approval must come from within first. Aoko worked to feel proud of yourself before worrying about how others view her. She's 15 years old, man. Over of the fuck. She's 17 now, I'm guessing, right? She knows nothing about the world, and she was forced into this role, and everybody's like, oh yeah, it's chill. I mean, except for the cougar who used this as an opportunity to, like, snatch her away from your family. That's crazy. This is, like, a bad situation all along. Whatever. She at least wanted to do her job with grace. In response to everything she had lost, she would hang here, even if she meant doing it alone. So why Sujiro envied her? Well, this was obvious. To Sujiro, she lived her life with her head held high. He was a boy who accepted everything but had nothing. She was a girl who threw it all away, but never lost a thing. That's not what it is at all. She did not throw shit away. She was forced to do it. Like, don't word it like that. She stood in the meeting room above, seeing the ugliness within, and the sublime outside. Sublime? Looking back, he finally realized what was eating at him. I think you see it now. It's not your appearance that strikes you as a beautiful, but your spirit. Not that she isn't physically beautiful, of course. Shut the fuck up! Ah, our pedophile, shut up! Sujiro nodded. From the day he first met her, this was indeed how he had felt. It just looked... Maybe it's this fucking universe. There is no, like, concept of adults should not be fucking underage people, you know, children. Maybe, like, what is going on? It was indeed how he had felt. It just took him till now to realize it. And then they're like talking about 20-something-year-old woman. Oh, she hadn't married yet. Shut up! This is indeed how he had felt. It just took him till now to realize it. The strength in her eyes and her unwavering will had captured his heart. She puts up with a lot. She really does. There's a lot of fight packed into that small frame. And they still don't send her any fucking allowance for all that she did for them? This is crazy. Father Harry spoke from the heart. Shut up, Father Harry. Sejiro raised his head, gave a small grin, and scratched his cheek. So many hours wasted brewing like an idiot. A part of him still felt strange, but it didn't bother him to leave the question unsolved for now. Unable to stay still, he stood up. He couldn't care less about the Ozaki family, mage battles, or Oka rushing off to her death. Right now, he just wanted to see her face. Stop. The recovery room is off limits. Cold words echoed around the chapel. They reached Sejiro as he was about to head back to Oka. The sightless sister must have been waiting by the altar. She moved quickly to block her spot. Miss Yuka, I'm not allowed in? Correct. Miss Koanji told me to make sure nobody enters. Alice said that? Sejiro was suspicious of why Alice would have said that. You would understand being kept at the Vaoko was being treated or her condition had worsened, but this seemed different. Besides, Oko herself said her treatment was finished. No, Sister Yurika, there is no need to be so curt. Did he say she'd tell Yurika? Okay, cool. Why not just tell him the truth, that the room is already empty? Oko left some time ago. But Father Eri! The priest began to explain everything from the pew he had sat in, about the thing he and Sejiro had spoken about, and why he, a stranger, would be so concerned about a person he knew nothing about. It all became clear to Sejiro. This was your plan all along. Sejiro's voice was full of anger, but Father Eri did not flinch. My apologies, Elka requested that I look after you. While I did need to buy her time to prepare, I honestly did want to talk to you. The priest's attempt to smooth things over was far from sincere. Sejiro grit his teeth to conceal his rage. Why had it not stopped Elka and Alice from heading towards certain death? Because both Nan and the priest were the same ilk as the mages. As such, they understood Elka's decision, and the priest understood Elka too. Did he? Even if he did give the power to stop her, he would not have. Great sentence. The Elka Ozaki he knew was not about to hide away in church and lick her wounds. Where is Alice? Miss Elka. They left about 30 minutes ago. Father Eri even went so far as to divulge the time. 30 minutes ago, the same time the priest reared his head. It would not have taken half that long to get to the school from here. And then another 10 minutes or less to get to Misaki Haya's old school building from here. Sejiro returned to the entrance of the chapel. However, stop! Where do you think you're going? The sound of his voice stopped him in his tracks. Out! An unseen pressure had locked him in place. Her admonition seemed to carry a spell-bearing power, stopping the foolhardy boy where he stood. You know nothing of mage battles. You're too weak to help. You're a liability. If they fall, that's their prerogative. Let them tear each other apart as they wish. A young, innocent bystander like you has no business taking part in such calamity. She spoke with a quiet anger. Her contempt was not directed at Aoko or Alice, though, but Sejiro for being so eager to waste his life. I mean, he's gonna die anyway, so what's the point? If there was a shred of hope, I wouldn't stop you, but there isn't. There is nothing you can do for them, either. She was right. It would be pointless for him to go. At the amusement park, he had been useless in the end. Now they faced something even worse. He couldn't even imagine how he might contribute this time. Listen carefully. Aoko Ozaki's grandfather trained her to protect yourself. Magecraft aside, she's still tougher than you, even though she still doesn't stand a chance against the beast of a familiar. Sejiro's physical strength, his only edge, meant nothing. If he went now, he would only get in the way. Yuko was correct, and yet... I have to go. I owe Oko a debt I must repay. He spoke calmly but firmly. Though almost moved, his sister frowned slightly. She felt bad for him, but her warning was for his own good. If he would not listen for a reason, then she would have to make him sleep. She raised a finger of binding at Sejiro. You mean you want to repay your debt, Sujiro? Incidentally, Sister Yuika, please refrain from using magecraft within the church. Please save it for religious ceremonies, or will affect my investigation. Dear Lord, give me strength. You seem so quiet, Sujiro, but you're more short-tempered than Ritsuka. If I may, Father Eri, I see no harm in letting him go. Or would you rather see Toko destroy Oko and Alice? That issue is separate from his suicidal devotion. Reconsider, Mr. Shizuki. Even if you go, there is nothing you can do for them. The truth of a statement cut Sujiro deep, but despite everything that being said, his mind was made up. It always has been. Even if he had not certain, he at least would not hesitate. He had always followed his instincts to the end, no matter where they took him. I know, but I'm still going. If I stay here, I really am powerless. His heart burned in his chest. While he listened to the priest talk, he could only think of seeing Oko. He was not worried. He did not want to help. He just wanted to see her. He would figure out what came next once he got here. See, he isn't suicidal. You say he'll get in the way, but Oko and Alice stand no chance of winning anyway, correct? So what's the problem? Better to burn out a blaze of glory. Father, what are you waiting for, Sujiro? Get going. Your response had moved Sister Yuika. And now you can move your legs, right? As soon as the priest pointed at Sujiro, he could move again. The pressure weighing on his shoulders lifted, along with the fear of his heart. Could he help? Would he expose Oko and Alice to more danger? All such doubts had vanished. I'm heading out then. With any luck, we'll meet again. Good. Whatever happens, no regrets. And with that, Sujiro began to run, as Father Eri watched with a look of satisfaction. The priest knew if he could not pursue the Oko, he would not convince Sujiro either. He watched the impetuous boy run away, as the blind nun listened to his footsteps fade into the distance. Yuka was no different from Sujiro and the priest. While she showed no mercy to corruption or self-righteousness, she embraced benevolence to the innocent. Such an ordinary boy with his life ahead of him, and yet he chose to follow heretics into hell. How can you live with yourself, Father Eri? I thought responsible adults called it wayward children. LOL. Does she know? Does she know? She made no efforts to hide her abiding disapproval. It was simply her way of showing concern for the boy. Father Eri shrugged. You're mistaken about few things, Sister Yuka. Yep, he's right. The use of the term responsible adult for the start. An adult is someone who takes responsibility no matter what. Fuck off. The rest went unspoken. It didn't matter to him which of them died. With a warm, goodly smile, the priest corrected the nun's misunderstanding. Okay. Okay, we have the last chunk, and I'm not feeling good. I feel kind of bad. That makes you very sweaty. Oh shit. Okay, let's save it, and let's finish the 2 last chapters next time. Sorry for being sick, and annoyed, and don't like the story, and, alive. Sorry. I feel bad. Well, at least I did something today. A little progress is better than no progress. Thumbs up. Oko was Akima's motto. I can't believe everybody's a cougar in this story. This is so annoying. Anything else to say? Fuck Israel. Yay! Fuck USA. Fuck all those fucking losers. Thank you for watching. See ya.